Alrighty, hello everyone, my name is the Mad Scorpion, and I'm taking another crack at what is essentially React content for a topic that I saw kind of come across my feed. I watched a little bit into the video before he got into the meat, but this is from a smaller creator of Destiny known as Mr. Gaming Counselor. He has had some kind of, I wouldn't know how to put it without like defining it or putting a label on it. But he has been as highly critiqued of Bungie, or he has been critiquing Bungie nearly as highly as I have. And it has kind of been refreshing to see not only somebody who has similar opinions, but somebody who almost has sometimes more extreme opinions. So this time around, he was discussing MrRoflWaffles because he was a recent addition to the Destiny 2 creator scheme. I don't know when exactly he joined, but it was like final shape time or slightly earlier. Either way, a lot of Destiny creators have been around since the start of Destiny 2, and MrRoflWaffles, aka Milo, had joined the community since very late in the game, and because of that, he got a head start. He had a lot of creators reach out to play with him. He had a jump start that was basically a lot of other creators carrying him through hard content. He kind of had a, let's be honest, shortcut when it came to getting through Destiny, and he also did not play at a time that life was harder for Destiny, or life was different for Destiny, aka he did not play before sun setting. He did not play before the existence of seasons. He did not play before episodes were a thing, and when we had a more standard seasonal thing. So his point of view is very open and naive, I would say, in the perspective of a lot of things. Also because of the fact that, he's a Destiny 2 creator and he has his own opinions, and that's always fine. Everyone can have their own opinions. But at the same time, most of his opinions are from what somebody would say maybe out of touch perspective of Destiny. So I wanted to go over this video titled MrRoflWaffles shows us what hypocritical toxic positivity looks like in Destiny, which 100% there are a lot more creators out there that I would say is that definition. I've been seeing more and more sponsored bits about Destiny and the Edge of Fate when they're all from the creators that I've seen never actually take a negative stance against Bungie in any way. So, I'm going to stop talking about that and let's actually go into the video. For context, I'm playing this 1.5 speed because no offense, Mr. Gaming Counselor, I know you like to take your time, but you do take a minute to get through some of your topics, as obviously this video is 45 minutes long, and with input, I don't want it to be so long, so let's get into it.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Counselor's Office. I'm Mr. Gaming Counselor.
Scholars, today we have drama.
Yes, we've just finished the day one. Well, just finished. It's literally Wednesday that I'm recording this, but we're after the aftermath of the entirety of the raid race. Now we're going back to our presentation, our present thing to do. Portal. And it's funny because this is now the second.
For context as well, my man here, he is still currently playing Destiny. He is still highly critical of Destiny while still, of course, still playing it. I am outside of it, but I am still keeping track of what everything is. So if you see me just agreeing with a lot of his statements, it would be because I know what he's talking about before anyone gets into it.
Second time that Encore has been disabled. It is almost hilarious. The Encore is just cursed. It is forever cursed. Like, we go to the screen right here. As you can see, people were finding another way to abuse and try to quickly.
Well, damn. So not only did I see that tweet from the Destiny 2 team that Encore was not only nerfed again, but, the thing is, I've seen a lot of people say they don't like the new grind. It's not even because of the seasonal thing. It's just it's a very long grind. And, it's been unenjoyable because I've seen plenty of people do nothing but play old content through the portal when in the past, when it came to new power, you would oftentimes play the new content and get new stuff and get brand new pinnacles. And then when you were out of like new things to do, then you would go back and do old content if you needed it. Because oftentimes you can do raids, you can do the new seasonal stuff, you can do the new campaign stuff and have a decent chunk of power and then go back to old things to try and clean up the remainders, but in the end, it wouldn't be the main thing you do. So the idea of the portal is forcing everyone to go into old stuff, and Encore keeps being the go-to, but Bungie keeps having to kill it because loot breaking. Well, that's honestly a mistake on Bungie's part.
Get as much loot as possible. But why? Because the power progression grind is horrible. It is god-awful. 90% of the community does not like this. However, there was a knight in shining armor that came to Bungie's defense. It's always the community that is negative, and it's never the situation that Bungie causes. That's right.
Which this almost ends up sounding political when I say this because it could be related to politics. But when 90% of the community is all equal stanced and just generally not liking something, but then the creators are all in the opposite saying, no, it's perfectly fine. This is how it should be. We should just shut up and listen. Yeah, it's more than likely they're just either rage baiting or they know that that stance will get a lot of, hit back. So they just do it to get views anyways.
Right. We got into we got a little sparks of drama. I wouldn't say it's explosive, mostly because he kind of ran away from the situation and only proved everyone's point. But we're talking about MrRoflWaffles, the zombie tutorial guy who is trying his hand at Destiny and for some reason thinks he knows what's best for the community. He has his pulse on a dead corpse, a zombie, and thinks it's the Destiny community. But here we are. Let's talk about it. So this was the original tweet that's kind of kicked off the conversation. Destiny 2 team tweeted, "We have identified an issue where the Encore mission is substantially easier to complete and dropping higher quantities of rewards than intended within the Pinnacle Ops. As such, we have disabled the Encore mission with Pinnacle Ops," which they did for a day, and everyone called them out for it, and then they re-enabled it. However, they also disabled the Grappler modifier, which, funny enough, was working as intended because Bungie showcased it on their live stream, and people were just using Grapple like it was nothing. So,
not to mention, Grapple wasn't broken. It was just a method people were speedrunning things. But also, as a side, I remember this detail about that being broken. Somebody mentioning quality checking at Bungie, especially in regards to the raid. And it came out that supposedly, I believe this was from an Aztecross video, that the quality assurance team for this contest mode was previous contest mode raiders. Not like QA people, just people that played contest mode before. So from the sound of it, they had probably not, or an aspect that should have been in part of the voice regarding QA, and took it and made it the whole part of the voice of QA. So we got possibly wrong input, or at least not accurate input from many different perspectives. So that led to, of course, the contest mode raid being not so great, but then also something like this, where we have a mission that is Loot Cave ×2, on 2 different occasions, where people are finding out ways to not only just break this game, but also just, disable it outright because no fun, says Bungie.
So it is kind of funny that Bungie did this in order to counter the fact that people were speed farming. So we're speed farming to get over this power progression, which is just horrible. It is not fun, it's not enjoyable, and most people don't like it. And when you try to force someone to do something that they don't enjoy, they're going to try to do it the most efficient way possible. Even if it's cheesy, whatever it is, they're going to do it. And of course, when you have a billion-dollar company that says, hey, play how you want to play, and when you choose to do that and they say, no, you can't do that, there's going to be backlash, which there was. However, we had an essay written by the man himself, MrRoflWaffles, an entire fucking essay.
Good lord, yeah, that is an essay. Jesus Christ, I didn't even see that tweet before. Holy crap.
Let's read it, and then
premium.
My response
Twitter
to that,
premium,
which kicked off a little spark, a little spark. No, not much, but it's definitely a little spark. Totally understand this is a tricky situation where leaving Encore untouched and having all raid racers grind to 450 power in 4 days would mean the power grind would be over before it started.
So stop already on that first point. If you are a hardcore raid racer and you are going to go for that title, you do not need the 3 days, or how do I say this? The 3 days is more than enough to get people ready and going because they gear and grind non-stop for those opening 72 hours. They might not even sleep a healthy schedule until the Monday after the raid race is done, simply because they know if they're sleeping, they're not working on the raid. So getting to the power cap of a new season, even if it's a jump like it was Final Shape, that usually is not the problem, because in the first 3 days, you have raiders running all 3 of their characters through the campaigns to get their power up, to get the new abilities. They run as many things as possible to get nearly as high as possible, but oftentimes, the raid racers will get above the light cap required, because guess what? Contest mode does not care what light you are at, it will still hold you at a deficit. It will just matter if you made it high enough that when its jump goes up, that you can be ready for it. Case in point, let's say just 0 to 100. 100 is the cap. The light cap for the raid entering was 80, but it went up and up and up throughout the activity. It went from 80 to 90 to 95 to 100. If you had just enough light to get in at 80, but it didn't have enough to go all the way up, then you would start having some problems at the end. That is basically contest mode to a T, because even though you can be at the 100, you are stuck at below what is acceptable for that rate, or below what is advisable. So if the encounter is at 80 light, you'll be stuck at 70. If the encounter is at 90 light, well, guess what? You're going to be stuck at 80. It doesn't matter if you have 100 light, you will always be at a deficit. So getting to the highest power has never been an issue for raid racers. It has just been a matter of the casual persons. So, you know, the raid race has nothing to do with the power grind in the end.
Yes, that's the point. No one wants to do the grind. This hurts
Also
the player's
that.
enjoyment, and long-term hurts retention long-term. No one was enjoying... the funny thing is, he unironically believed in the same sentence that people were farming Encore. And also, power grinding is fun. The enjoyment. Players' enjoyment long-term.
Yeah,
No one was enjoying
hit
that.
the wrong button. I forget where I heard it from, but somebody said, I think it was DSR Joker, or Dark Side Joker, something like that. In post, I'll put his channel. But he pretty much said, flat out, leveling is not content, and no matter how. Like, in the past, it might have been fun because, oh crap, we're doing all these new activities, we're getting new drops, we're leveling up gear, we're getting new shit, which might have been nice, but then after the 50th time around, it's just a chore, and as much as it might be satisfying getting to, like, Pinnacle Cap and finishing everything else out, you don't need to do it. Like, I didn't even finish my Pinnacles in Heresy, and Pinnacles is one of those things you can do solo without much problem. I just didn't, because there was no interest or need to do the Pinnacle grind. So the idea that leveling is content, and that is something they're like, oh, they'll enjoy this long grind for the next 2 months out of a 4-month season for the next 6 years of their life. Yeah, no, the power grind is only enjoyable for the people that haven't had to do it 50 times in Destiny's history.
And retention, that only hurts Bungie, which is bad for the health of the game. No. Making unfun situations, forcing your players to play something that they don't really want to do. No one wants to do Encore. People are upset because, oh my god, my favorite exotic mission is gone. No. People hate Encore. It is probably one of the worst exotic missions in the game.
And that was also an issue with Bungie and their design, is that after Echoes happened, we had to run that mission constantly, just for the story. Not even for, like, Catalyst and everything else like that. You at least had to run it a few times, in addition to once a week. Something like that for the story missions. Not to mention, you running it with other people, you running it for Catalyst, you running it for secrets. So you end up running those exotic missions dozens of times, and that is before you even need them for power grind. And then cut to now, when that is the source of the best gear apparently, and people are having to grind the absolute hell out of these missions. Yeah, this is no shade of the creators. The Encore mission was pretty good, but having to play it so much, yeah, no, I've killed the amount of times I've gone through Whisper or Zero Hour in comparison to how many times I've done Encore or the Slayer's Fang mission. Not even the Derealize, though, because I did that once and said, fuck off. I don't even care about doing the rest of it. So, you know, that's kind of the way it goes.
But it is the most efficient to bypass a horrible experience. Removing Encore now means that some people have already grinded to significant power, while others were planning to start today, creating some unbalance in those who were raid racing. And I still think that, to a certain extent, it did. People getting access to tier 4s and tier 4 gear could actually, like, help their build get to the, 200s of weapon and super, which was very, very necessary. I also, obviously grinding Grasp, Avarice, Artifice for a week straight also helped.
Fun fact, though, people needed that armor because that's how they ended up needing it.
Who are you talking to? Are you tweeting Bungie, or are you trying to talk to the community? See, this is what I thought this was just an open letter to the community based on this post, because this is not directed to Bungie. I personally feel like leaving Encore as it was for the next 2 days would probably have been the move so that everyone was on the same page going into the raid. I agree, but I totally appreciate that by leaving it there, the implication for retention over the next 3 months until power increase might actually really be negative in their own rights.
See, this is also the issue that Bungie has, and that is of shortcutting in different aspects, because they could fix the bug and let players have it, but the problem is it might break too many things, so they end up disabling it and just saying outright people can't have fun. And then they'll have the luxury to take 2 months to fix other bugs that they could have disabled activities for and otherwise, but they didn't, because they could have just left the bug exist. But this one was offending Bungie devs, so they decided to disable it and fix it later so that people could actually have access and fun, air quotes, later.
Isn't it funny how we know that it's people, the guy at 400 right now is being time gated by the power grind? So it didn't even matter because you can't even get to the high levels anyways. So this the information we have now completely negates this. But in the general sense, no one wants to farm power level for 3 months. They'd rather farm armor and stats. Like, that's what people care about. No one plays Diablo or like World of Warcraft just for stats. Or not stats, but for like power level.
That is also the issue of what the power grind is, because most people, I'm not sure about now just because I don't know the economy of those upgrade cores or unstable cores, but most people when they're power grinding, they don't even care about build. They'll just equip whatever random blue, whatever random legendary, whatever random armor and item, and just accept my build is going to be screwed for a little while. They'll have no stats, and then once they get higher to that point where it's like, maybe I need a few points, or they at least hit soft cap or high end of the power cap, then they actually start using their real gear. So in the end, stat distributions while leveling oftentimes is fucked just because of the fact that, you know, you're wearing all the random armor so you don't have to waste so many cores just infusing your gear up. There's no point in unstable coring everything if you're just infusing random shit that in the end is not even close to the end. So, yeah.
They want the stats. They want to work on their build. And you essentially can't do that with tier 2, tier 3. Sure, maybe tier 3. Most people want to go for tier 4 at least to get the max, like the most juice for the squeeze, which you can't do until you start doing the power grind. Still, the main issue, I think, is that the portal is infinitely grindable by design. Bungie has encouraged people to play the way they want to play, and they know full well that the raid racers are going to play whatever they want, gets them the biggest advantage, the quickest, grinding encore. Yes, that's what it is to be a gamer. Yet when the inevitable has played out in front of us,
that's what happens.
Change to nerf what they're doing, play the way you want, except when it's too fast, LOL. I agree. This is a fair point. I almost feel like no matter what the activity of choice was for the grinders from day one, Encore wasn't the rotator, there was a different mission people would settle on that stead, we'd be seeing a nerf to that right now too, simply because it happened to be the thing everyone was doing to be most optimal. There will always be an optimal activity though, there will always be strats that people settle on, and so there will always be people going faster than others. And there's got to be a point where Bungie is comfortable with that because their portal is infinitely grindable. It's fundamentally the design of the...
I mean, that sort of logic can also go for like dungeons. If you're just looking for dungeon clears, you could easily do something like Shattered Throne, which has an easier path and easier to kill bosses, instead of doing Ghosts of the Deep, which you have Underwater Walking Simulator and Sponge Boss the Tank.
System. Again, another fair point. I agree. I don't know if this uncomfy decision now is ultimately the better of two evils and will be healthier for the game long term. I don't think any of us can truly know that. No, you don't know that because you're a new player. Anyone who's played this game can tell you that this is not a good grind and it's not healthy for the state of the game because people don't want this. We already have seen a drop in the player base from the beginning of the expansion to the cap, the highlight, which was the raid, and now from the raid, which was 100K players. This peak was from the raid, and now it's the next week. It's past the reset. 30K players have just vanished. That's
Ouch.
Not good. And it's only going to get worse. No one wants to do this grind.
To be fair, that could just be people taking a break after the raid race.
You have no idea what you're talking about.
Because I'll just pause that so I'm not talking over him. But at the same time, that is entirely true. Is there could be just a massive drop of people that quit just because they got the new raid, they saw it, and their interest has completely disappeared. However, that could just be a bunch of the creators, also like Datto and Milo and the other kind of creators that are slightly more on the side of Destiny shell. Which I say slightly. That's just me saying they're Destiny positive. They are at GCX or at various conventions, so they're either doing something right now or they're, taking a breath. Because like I mentioned, a lot of the raid racers, they absolutely hammer out the Tuesday to Friday before the raid race. They maybe get a decent night's sleep ahead of time before the raid race goes live because they won't be sleeping for the next 48 hours. If they do, they're taking massive breaks when everyone agrees to. But then they're going and taking another crack at it. They're spending the entire weekend and the entire week looking at screens to the point that once the raid race is over, they might go back. They might play that normal version a few times. Now they have all the experience. But in the end, a massive break is often taken by a lot of raid racers simply because of the fact that they just absolutely put their face to a brick and they hammered it down.
Talk to the people who do understand this is not good for the game. People would rather grind for the armor, but not for the artificial power, which is boring. And doing the same damn activities and the portal, 30 activities or so, maybe we got a little bit more now with Onslaught being released. You have the most bare minimal activities that no one wants to do. Half the game is soft sunset.
Also, I didn't even know that about Portal. There wasn't even some activities that were available right off the bat. Some had to release the week later. No wonder people were gravitating towards exotic missions, because I feel like people would have been rather playing Onslaught for 50 hours than the same Encore mission 30 times in an hour. Now, I need to actually take a moment to pause this in recording, because I need to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. Okay, back from the bathroom and time to continue.
That's what's unhealthy with the game. The fact that people have bought expansions. Hell, if you just bought the final shape, you can't even play it because none of it matters. Sure, the weapons might, you can still use weapons, but none of the armor, and you can't get pinnacle. Like, you can't grind to 450 playing Salvation's Edge, which is the most recent raid outside of Desert. Like, or the dungeon, Sundered Doctrine, which is the most recent dungeon. You won't get another dungeon for another 6 months, but the most recent one doesn't even matter. None of it, you can't even grind it for power. So tell me what's unhealthy. Tell me what's unhealthy for the game. The lack of options and choices and the forced artificial grind, or people trying to overcome a negative issue so they can actually play the game that they want. So we go back. This was obviously going to be controversial no matter what, but I think the way Bungie announced this, remove the playlist out thin air, then briefly explain later after the fact, could have been way better. I agree. I commend the devs for trying to communicate this year, and I think largely the comms have been really solid, even though they have not commented on a lot of the bugs that have been going on until recently.
See, here's the thing about that. I do commend Bungie for actually talking, but the problem is they've been doing the Bungie minimum at this point. They haven't done much to actually show that they are explaining more than what they should. And that is, in the end, I could just be hypercritical, but in the end, I feel like they're just giving us the baseline because, like he just mentioned, they're telling us about some bugs. They're not telling us about all the bugs. And sure, the known issues this might have them, but if they really are interested in communicating, they would actually have somebody on the Destiny 2 team account regularly updating people about bugs, progress, and everything else like that. If they actually wanted full-on blatant communication, they would have somebody posting on that Twitter account that says, hey, we've identified the issue of the bugs, we're working on it. And then a day later, this bug actually has been solved. It will launch in the next patch. This bug is proving harder to fix, so this might take a little bit longer. If they had the legit play-by-play of bug fixing and development issues, they might actually have a lot more going for them in terms of communication.
The fact that people for years, not even just this past year, but for years have complained about bugs that they're just now suddenly talking about. Like, let's not talk about the memory leak that kicks you after 5 hours if you don't have your frames capped at 60 the entire time. I've literally kept my frames capped for years, knowing that that's an issue. And they're just now suddenly, now that it's on the spotlight and you have this intense raid race going on and people are getting kicked because of it, or crashes are happening, they're like, oh, I guess we kind of need to fix it now. Like, let's not give them praise for something that they're doing the bare minimal about, especially when you have companies like Warframe that are far more communicative about what they do and why they do it. But in this specific instance, it feels like a little terse and doesn't really invite much goodwill from the player base to hear out why Bungie is making the decision this way. Because we already know. We already know. We don't need to hear Bungie and their reasons. We already know why. They want retention, artificial grind. It is not for the benefit of the player. It's for the benefit of the billion-dollar company that wants you to play their game for metrics. We know. You don't know because you're so used to Call of Duty, but we who have played this game for years understand why Bungie does what they do. We don't need an
For reference, when he says you, he's referring to Milo, MrRoflWaffles.
explanation for them. We know they just want metrics because no one actually thinks this grind is fun.
No, it's really not.
And it's gone. It's there and it was gone. Nope.
Also, hang on a minute. Just checking right there. MrRoflWaffles blocked him. The ultimate sign that you have an argument that goes against your own. Someone blocked you.
Nope.
Oh wait, hang on. Also, again, what was that grok test they said about? Classic Bungie. Players discover a fun loot spinning glitch in Encore, making leveling a blast, but no, the corporate overlords deem it unintended and shut it down. Can't have Guardians progressing too quickly, or who will buy those expansion cosmetics. Fun detected. Fun. Oh my god, even Grok is roasting Bungie. Oh, that's great.
Let's see. I don't think of this can know, but I can say certainly is the following. So this is what he says. We can say with certainly, this was obviously going to be controversial no matter what. Yes, I do think that was true. It was going to be controversial because Bungie implemented a system no one wanted and then punished people for playing how they were intended to play.
The irony.
There's a world where they explain why leaving it the way it is a problem for the long-term health of the game, which the player should be, first off, this, again, you're giving them a pass. The issue is the power grind, and it's not helping. Like, look at the health. The health is already going down. Like, we're playing Pokemon, and Bungie just got a critical hit. Like, their Pokemon is about to be knocked out. Like, what are we talking about health and what's good for the long term of the game? This isn't it, Chief. Wow, that was super effective. Bungie hit themselves in confusion. God dang it. Keep doing all well. We'll just keep rolling with it. Sorry. There we go. Which the player should be amended to. The player should be in favor of things which help the game's long term. I love that this Joker from Zombies is telling the Destiny community that you should be acceptable, you should be on board. What's best for the game. You know what's best for the game? If they actually put everything in the portal. You know, we're talking about the grind. Why is it? Do you really think spamming salt mines for like 3 hours straight is the answer? But yes, nothing's better for the game than spending 3 hours in salt mines grinding out pinnacles so you can reach an artificial number to then play the game.
You know, I wasn't initially the biggest fan of Portal because, like I said, it seemed intended on helping the newer people, but not the veterans. But the more and more I hear about actually how the Portal plays in the average day, I am so glad I skipped this one, because I hope the Portal is either massively reworked or just straight up deleted when it comes to the next couple expansions. And I would feel bad for Bungie if they did end up having to delete it straight out because they couldn't find a way to make it work. But in the end, it kind of proves my point, if it is, that it wasn't exactly needed. It's just kind of... It's a magnifying glass under a magnifying glass. They're trying to find something that they could already find with the other magnifying glass, but now suddenly there's a lot more heat being focused because the magnifying glass, you can't see as many different things as you could with the original just broad stroke magnifying glass, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's just funny watching people who think that they understand and they don't. Like, you have no idea what you're talking about. So this gets them onto Bungie's side. Wow, we've got to teach the guys. The players just don't get it. Milo is so right. The Destiny community is so fucking stupid. We don't understand why it's so important that we slow down the grind and why things have to be so grindy, because it's hurting the game. Like, you guys, you got to be on Bungie's side on this. You got to understand from their side, because you need to be willing to match them and not them match you. Even though you're the consumer, you're the customer. You need to be reasonable, guys. You need to be reasonable and play how they want you to play, not how you thought guys. You bought a game. You thought you owned the game. No. You just own the experience of suffering. That's for you. You playing the game that Bungie wants you to play. Guys, you should be willing to hear them out and be accepting of it and never question anything they do or say. You should not ask for better. You shouldn't complain. They give people advance warnings in the tweet earlier today. Hey guys, this is really going to hurt the future of Destiny. We're going to give you one more day to do this, but then we're turning it off X, Y, and D. But that's the thing. It is so stupid. We're trying, like, he's trying to do this mental gymnastic where he's trying to give Bungie the benefit of the doubt, and he's circling around the problem. Like, the problem is that people were grinding Encore not because they wanted to grind Encore, because it was only one of the 3 activities that was worth grinding to get over the stupid power grind. Like, we're talking about what's best for the game and what's good for the health. Like, we're circling around trying to make it sound like we need... Oh man, I'm trying. Breathe, just keep reading. They may even be able to make it a win for people by giving out like an emblem or something. You know,
Damn.
It is so fucking funny. It's ironic because I keep talking about how people just love emblems. Like, Destiny players and emblems are like crack cocaine. It is so bad that even a zombie player.
I'm gonna be frank. I don't change my emblems for shit, and it's frankly annoying whenever I play a new season and I get all these new emblems because it's a representative of me playing the new season or something like that, and I have to work on making space for the 9 emblems I've just permanently had in my inventory that don't move. If anyone actually thinks that emblems are anything but literal window dressing, oh boy. Because I wore one emblem because I thought it looked cool. I wore another emblem because it was a sign that I bought that $400 Savathun statue that lives on my desk over there. Then there's the people that wear a contest mode emblem because that means, hey, I beat the contest mode. But then that's where it ends. It's just saying, hey, I did X, or hey, I like the way this looks, or that's about it. So if there's anyone that actually gives a shit about emblems, it's kind of like liking sneakers. In the end, you stick your stinking fucking feet in them and you use it to tread on the ground. Do you want to have nice sneakers? Cool, but does it really matter? Not really.
Someone who made a living off of zombies, who just has finally come over to Destiny, has a finger on the pulse of the stupidity of the Destiny community and fucking emblems, that he's actively suggesting Bungie, let's give them an emblem and that will make it better. Hey, little Timmy, we're taking this away, but emblem, you want crack cocaine? I'm sorry, it's just funny that even he understands the Destiny community and their stupid emblems, dude. I have the contest mode emblem, and sure, I have like I wouldn't say a sense of pride. It's more like, I suffered for this, I'm just gonna wear it. It does look cool. I think it looks cool, but it's not even based on like the achievement for me. It's just like, I suffered, I'm just gonna wear this. But give them an emblem. Guys, you're suffering. You've complained for the power grind for years. The community even asked for Bungie to remove it. They did remove it a little bit, then they brought it back in the most egregious form possible. Guys, it's gonna be better. You get an emblem. Yeah, that's gonna solve the problem. Yeah, just slap an emblem on that ass. Woo! and and bam, the sentiment around the change would at least be not quite as bitter as it is right now. That's right. Come on down. Bungie presents the brand new emblem. We're taking away your ability to play the game how you want, but do not worry. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a brand new emblem. Bam! And the dirt is gone. That's right. Come on down, play the portal, enjoy the suffering, and don't worry. We're going to continue to make sure you don't play the game how you want. You're going to play how we want you to play, but hey, we've got emblems. You love emblems. You love emblems like they're drugs, right, kids? Do emblems all day, every day.
Yeah, not gonna lie, emblems ain't shit for
That is
compensation.
So funny. He actually thinks, bam.
That wouldn't actually fix
emblem,
anyone's opinions if it's worth a valuable opinion.
I love people who think they understand. It is hilarious. Sadly, the sentiment towards Bungie is often so negative that I think even in the scenario where they did the above, people would still be crucifying them for it just as much. And that's why it's so important to push against the endlessly negative people in the community. This is what I used to like Milo, but this is what makes me hate him. He's an absolute jackass. Like, he's an absolute jackass. Because otherwise, if Bungie has no upside to do things better because they will get hate regardless, why would they ever bother? You know why people are pushing back against them in this situation? It's because people don't want the power grind. And instead of listening to the players, they're like, hey, we're going to introduce the power grind, but now you can farm as much as you want. We made it better. You can continue to grind as much as you want.
I still stand, regarding that, I still stand by my point where, why couldn't they have just uncapped the original activities? But now the portal has to be where the uncapped activities are, so now you have to play the new portal. Well, you could have just said, hey, guess what? You know that issue where you run out of all your drops for the week and suddenly you need just that one more piece of armor and you could get to that next stage? Guess what? Now all of our activities are unlimited, so you can just do whatever you want. You want to run strikes 50 times in a week to get your power? Sure, go ahead. Because that's what somebody is used to doing. But now we're doing all of these shortcut missions that is just literally taking a random section of the map and just saying, oh, kill this boss and a few bad guys. So, I'm not going to lie, I kind of forgot where my thought was going. But, oh, now I remember. They made the portal and said, hey, guess what? Through the portal, your options will be uncapped. Why couldn't they have just done that plain with the activities the way they were before having to filter them all through the portal? Honestly.
That's like, it's like setting fire on someone's house and then giving them a small water hose, like the one that just barely squirts anything out. Like, hey, there's a wildfire. Your house is on fire, but here, have a water hose. Yeah, just gotta sprinkle on it. No, it's not water hose. They got a sprinkler. That's better. That's a better scenario. Then Bungie hands you a sprinkler, and you're over there trying to put out the fire, and it's going very slowly, very slowly. They started the fire, and they give you like this way of like putting it out. Like, didn't we do a great job? Use that sprinkler. Come on, you got it. Keep going. You almost got the fire out. Keep going. Keep going. That's the situation. Literally, Bungie starts a fire, gives the community a sprinkler, and says, hey, we did you a favor. Instead of like waiting it out, you guys get a sprinkler. Continue to farm with that little sprinkler as much as you want.
Yeah, it ain't looking good.
We're going to read what I said, and then we'll get more into my opinion. Anyway, thanks for coming to my TED Talk on this awkward situation. Hope you enjoyed the yap. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the drama. 22 minutes in, the drama comes in. So here's what I said, and I'm going to read it straight.
Damn, dude also wrote a book.
The toxic positivity that tries to paint all criticism, or at least make statements that sum up the community as endlessly negative, which, to be absolutely objective, if the company itself is making massive negative choices towards players, consumers, invested gamers, then it is 100% justified that the response is a negative one. The health of the game should not be determined by a pointless metric farm and retention-based power grind when most people are farming Encore in the first place is trying to circumvent a egregious system. The desire is to be able to play how people wanted to play the game, which you cannot until you reach the pinnacle of 450, because then you have access to Grandmasters and beyond, which you allow you to farm for tier 4 and then later tier 5. 3. The focus of the game should be farming tier gear, not a generic number that is pointless. People will end up spending hours to days to even in the entire season farming high tier loot, which should be the center point of playing the game. You are not guaranteed god rolls or armor. You are also not considering the amount of builds that one singular character can have now with all these stat changes and all other classes. And you have a crap ton of builds to chase and formulate, and you would spend plenty of time farming that, which matters more than what this egregious power farm is forcing players to do. The health of the game is not based on people farming the power level. The health is based on the fun factor, which if you're forced to have to play a bunch of activities that are not fun to get a power level in order to play the actual game the way that you want, that will kill the game. Players will stop investing in this game before they even get to the high tier loot.
Not gonna lie, that is actually the point, because flashback to when I was actually playing the first Descendant for a while, it was not fun grinding out the characters at all. because I ended up having to play the same character and having to do the same activities over and over again in very obscure places. And it wasn't just a case of I had to do one activity a lot more than others. No, it was the same activity over and over again, just in different locations and activities. And it killed the grind so bad that I put that game down and never returned to it. Like, I installed it to play with a friend the other day. I practically immediately uninstalled it the moment that we got off that game, because I just remembered how much that game was, a boring as hell grind. But that is honestly some absolutely base stances. Just, well, I don't know if I would say based or just common sense stances. Yeah, no, people are going to want to make builds. They don't want to power grind, and they're ending up doing more power grinding. It's just, people want to get into the new system, and this new power grind is preventing them from enjoying that new system, if it even is a good new system.
4. We need to stop babying Bungie, who has a history of doing everything from lying, deceiving, misleading, and going back on what they say for their own best interest. The amount of time gating, the amount of stealth nerfs, the console players can't even enjoy the game. Multiple parts of the game are breaking, i.e. VOG, duality is unplayable. Even Salvation's Edge, the most recent raid, you couldn't even beat one of the encounters. Let's stop acting like holding
the man had the breath.
People holding Bungie accountable for years of bad anti-consumer, anti-gamer, and anti-fun behavior is suddenly not acceptable, and it's just negative. Sure, it will be negative when the developer loses more of their jobs because Bungie is too busy trying to do what's best for the business over trying to cater to their players and make decisions that will end up pushing players away more than we already have happening. And just to kind of back that up, we have the data. Not only was these the lowest from even Shadowkeep had more players at launch. Hell, we have seasons that have had more players at launch than this expansion, and already it's nosediving. Not even a couple of days. Like we're past the weekly reset the next week, and it's already dropped 30K players, and it's continuing to go down. So let's not act like there's no truth to what's being said. Then we have the response. That's right. The man himself. Toxic positivity. Opinion rejected. Do not pass go. Please touch grass. This man took the opportunity to look at the post, and instead of actually
See, that is the point of a creator whose opinions maybe should be taken with a lot less weight. Because legitimately, if that is the case, that he didn't read or didn't understand half of what he said and just read toxic positivity and said, your opinion doesn't matter, and then also said, go touch grass, when you were a zombies YouTuber, a Call of Duty Zombies YouTuber, who probably didn't touch grass for the entirety of the time that you're trying to work out that damn Easter egg and do it? Yeah, that's the pot calling the kettle black in the eyes of everyone else.
Countering it, decided, we're not gonna have this argument. We're not gonna have this debate. Instead of actually being an adult, since he wants to since he's calling out the community. By the way, he is actively calling out the community, saying that if you are bringing criticism, essentially you're negative. You're overwhelmingly negative. The problem is the community, that we're crucifying Bungie as if they have never done anything to be justified for that. Let's see what. It's funny because in this moment, I pulled it up at the same time. Some people were coming to me and telling me that in his stream he was upset. So I found the exact same time because we watch it right after at the time, and just exactly when he was replying, and you could just visibly see how he reacts to it. So we have it right here just to see how he reacts to it. He's also reacting to other people as well.
Reacting to a reaction.
By the way, my man is he's upset. Like he's keyboard worrying. Like even when I type, I'm not like bashing my keys, but his cam is bouncing and everything.
I know I'm not the best streamer. I'm very mediocre when it comes to my streaming ability. But, man, the kind of dead air that comes from somebody just sitting in an emote and typing a Twitter reply while you're playing Destiny, yeah, that ain't exactly engaging. This is also at 50% increased speed. I'm at 1.5 times speed.
Look at him go. Like, he's replying to multiple people. Like, he's not even streaming. He's just on. He's so hyper focused with his own tweet, and he's live. So like, he's streaming in front of people, and he's so hyper focused to replying midstream. I've done this too, but not as aggressively. In fact, he looks at it and he gets upset to the point where he just walks away. I thought I got it fat more. He just spent. Yeah, there it is. So there you go.
Times. Getting baited into responding to dumb people on Twitter.
Absolutely baiting him. Yep. replying and countering his points and pointing out some of his flawed logic, pointing out, like, bringing actual fair points to counter his attack against the community. But he's attacking the community, which granted, there's some negativity, right? But it's not like it wasn't justified. He's trying to make it sound like the problem is the community and not Bungie. And the reason why people are upset is that Bungie's continuing to make mistakes and continuing to do things that are anti what players want. But we're supposed to give them the benefit of the doubt, even though we continually do that. But he wants to disregard that. And so, in my response is I point stuff like that out. But hey, we're just baiting him, right? And he's so frustrated.
God, people are so stupid. People are actually so dumb. I'm gonna take a minute. And I'm gonna...
Yeah, you go take your minute. You go take your minute. But yeah, he blocked me. Isn't it funny? I never thought that I would be blocked by him. Again, I've actually defended him, by the way, which is funny because there's some weirdo.
You know, just to think too, the fact that so many people countered your arguments that had opposing opinions to the point that it actually stressed you out and angered you to the point that you had to turn around and walk away from your live stream because they bugged you so much. How long have you been a content creator? Even I look at some comments and just go, man, this dude is being a jackass for no good reason, but then I just move on. If you legitimately think they're just trying to rage bait you, or just saying stupid shit just to piss you off, then let it go, bro. There's no need to get so pissy about it to the point that you angry Twitter reply and then walk away on your live stream because it's just heated you so bad.
It's definitely in this community who've been like...
Also, apologies for the squeaky chair.
I can see why people don't like him. He's kind of an asshole. I mean, I'm an asshole, but he's an asshole because he completely ignores the community's criticism. And the way he views the community is the problem and not Bungie. Like, I've even seen where people say, he says, like, oh, well, Lightfall isn't as bad as people say. Like, I can't believe the community is so hating on this. Like, again, he's bottling everything up based on his perception that, oh, everyone's the problem, not Bungie. So, of course, there's people replying to this, and congratulations, you're the problem. Go touch grass. Brother, you sit on a chair for longer than 12 hours on a stream, barely moving with your stinky ass. You want to come and tell other people to go touch grass because you don't agree with their opinion? Sheesh, the hypocrisy from you YouTubers is crazy.
Jesus Christ.
There's a difference, quite a big one. It's his job. I couldn't care less if it's a job. The guy that Milo replied to could also be doing it as a job. It's not, by the way. So it was justified to tell other people to go touch grass just because he saw 2 words he didn't like. Milo does it quite a lot. Not hating, but being two-faced doesn't help.
Yeah, in the end, just saying toxic positivity and moving on is nothing great.
It's not toxic positivity. It's suicidal positivity. We keep talking about Bungie like they're our close friend who's going through a rough patch. Bungie is a business and we are their customers. All they do is mess.
You know, I made an analogy to Bungie playing Russian roulette not too long ago. Man, they just keep pulling that trigger and pretending like there is no bullet in that gun, honestly.
For the customer's base, and you expect to cover for them. That is based. Oh my God, that's such a great, yeah, he talks about it as if they're our best friends, which by the way, he shook the hands like he hangs out with Bungie. Like he actually, this is why you should not care about content creators who have Bungie's hand in their back wallet. Like literally, Bungie invites him to their office, and now he acts as if we're best friends. Like the community's just best friends of Bungie. Like it is insane.
Real shit, Bungie could hold out their hand to me and say, hey, do you want to come see the office, see what we're doing behind the scenes? I would probably say yes, but my opinions would not at all be swayed, and if they offered me any money to sponsor, I probably wouldn't take it because I don't believe in what a lot of the sponsorships would be talking about.
Waffle, for fuck's sake, I mean, this is a genuine, well thought out, articulate point, and all you can do is act like a child in response. With all due respect, go fuck yourself. With all respect, this is an awful take, and you're also making his argument stronger, trying to engage with a different approach that does involve instant neglect of his argument. I understand that you're trying to pass off everything as everything is negative. I want to be positive, but this is not the way to just go against someone. Isn't it funny that he literally proved my point?
You know what's funny? The touch grass argument is almost like the Call of Duty get good, where it just doesn't.
Let's look at what I said.
It just doesn't help anyone.
So he can't see my own post, so I'm posting again. Funny that you ignore the entire thread with logic and you get upset about toxic positivity and you block. Oh wait, hold on. I think I reposted this on myself. Yeah, here. So here it is. I tagged him. It's crazy how you can provide logic and facts with historical context, and instead of being able to have an actual conversation or debate, you'd rather be a child and block because the words toxic positivity were used. Pathetic. I can see why people are hating you of recent. Shame. I liked you, some of your takes, and thought you were more into debating rather than trying to maintain a narrative that only fits you. But it's okay. Block and run. And then people did reply. Milo is a guest in this Destiny community's house, but he thinks he's someone because he hangs out with the big content creators. I know a guy who has 2,000 plus raid clears, and the community hates him because he doesn't fit their narrative. Joker responds. The man, the myth, the legend, Joker responded. As I said in another post, this
that was the guy I think I was talking
cognitive
about.
bias. Milo, I'm not willing to engage intellectually with an argument because they used a turn or a phrase I don't like. I will then further go to insult them after bitching about how mean the community is. It is so true. He just said how mean the community is, and I wasn't even being hateful to him. I was just making facts about what's wrong with what he said. I didn't even attack him, and he's actually telling me that my opinion doesn't matter and I need to go touch grass.
You know, that is true.
Beautiful Milo.
There is the fine line, and unfortunately that is what debate ends up turning to, and that's kind of the source of how you can tell that somebody's logic is flawed. Where one person makes a statement, another person takes that statement, articulates it, and criticizes certain points about it. They don't go after the person that made the statement, they just articulate what they said and point out the criticisms. And then the other side results into insult and talking about nonsensical insults. That is a lot like what politics have devolved into, where somebody says something, somebody corrects them, and then suddenly they're turning around and calling them names and calling them things that aren't even true. They just default on the things. So in this case, that is exactly what happened. MrRoflWaffles said something, Mr. Gaming Counselor here responded and articulated and pointed out all the issues in that statement, and then the other person said, toxic positivity blocked Lamau. So, yeah, you can kind of see how I'm relating that.
Guy's been playing Destiny for 5 seconds and people flock to him like he knows what the F he's talking about. Explains the primarily Fortnite kids following that clown. If they get butthurt over the term toxic positivity, it just means you are correct. This response is exactly why that phrase was created.
Indeed.
There's something off about this Milo guy. The alarm bells keep going off whenever you speak, you hear him speak. I totally agree with everything you say, Counselor. Speak for the community. Bungie doesn't care about the community. And people have tried to justify what Bungie are doing. Needs to wake up and see Bungie doesn't care about everyone. This is the first time I haven't bought a major expansion since D1 and stood in line at a freaking game store for hours. Part of me wished I got it wrong and was going to buy it after seeing it. All the drama took away all the FOMO. The community it's toxic. It hurts.
You know, that tweet is a perfect statement of where I am right now. I had a bit of regret when I didn't buy the DLC. When I saw all the people actually playing the new stuff, I was like, man, there's a location that I might not touch for a legitimately long amount of time because I might just straight up not buy it. But then I saw the drama, the raid race, the disablings of Encore, all of the bugs, everything else, and stuff like this. And I thought, man, is it a good time to not be playing Destiny and to be observing Destiny from the outside? Because, holy crap, I probably would have quit in the middle of the raid race if I even tried it, now that I actually think about it.
Bungie caught it's toxic, it hurt, but Bungie caused this. I guess that's what they meant to say. Every major D2CC. The DLC is amazing, literally everyone else. What the fuck is this dog shit? Which is funny.
That's the same thing as those sponsor
if we go
deals.
And look, by the way, Edge of Fate ratings. Ooh. Ooh. Ooh.
To be fair, that is only 11 user ratings, but...
Okay, yeah, maybe that's a little skewed. That's a little excessive. The 0... But these are PC, though, so this doesn't count because we're looking at... Wait, we're all looking at PC. What about PlayStation? What about PlayStation? Let's look at PlayStation.
I'm not
Like
sure the
PC,
Metacritic
you could also
score
look
is
at
a
Steam,
reliable
by the way.
sport or
We'll look at
spot
Steam
for
just for science.
frickin'
Yeah,
reviews.
Yeah, so it's obviously not... it's not working out, Chief.
No.
There it is.
And keep in mind, that's also mixed because people aren't just straight up review bombing it. They are just legitimately giving their opinions. It's the difference between something like Concord that was review bombed or Monster Hunter Wilds that was review bombed because of an optimization. This was people actually looking at it and saying, this isn't it. So I'm going to leave a bad review and say why my bad review is a thing. That's why it's mixed and not mostly negative, because there are still things that people can say about it that are good, but it's mostly bad, which results in going from mostly positive to kind of positive to now mixed.
He proved your point with the behavior, though. I hate to sound like some entitled leader's asshole, but last I call, that Waffle guy hasn't been playing long enough to really know how Bungie is. They seem to be giving Bungie way too much benefit of the doubt on various things, but given how they dismiss everything.
Also true.
You said when you insulted their when you insulted their toxicity, it shows they are part of the problem. When any of and all criticism of Bungie leads to hostile responses, it means those people are
And that is also a slight problem when it comes to the community, is there are some people that are so brand new to this place that they haven't had that kind of betrayal by Bungie yet. It's kind of like Shameless, that series, how there's that one daughter that loves her father, but of all the other kids, they know the father is a drunk asshole abuser that just really isn't a good dad at all. But the little daughter still loves her daddy so much that she will die for him. That's kind of like what's happening right now. Most people are fed up with them. But then you have the new people who are naive and they think, oh, well, this game's fun. It's got a lot to do. I'm going to enjoy it. But then you have the people that talk about all the sins that Bungie has committed, but they are just wallflowers, and they just continue on and just say, I don't believe in the sin because I haven't encountered that problem. Well, you're going to soon.
in a fucking cult. Okay, that turned in a direction, but yeah. It is very obvious that he was in the wrong. Oh, to me, because of how offended I am by the turn of phrase, this is the mindset of a child, and I've defended Milo because the D2 community does have weirdos who are hyper obsessed with the game.
Indeedy.
And I said, yeah, I've defended him too. I just doesn't make sense what he's doing. But like I said, he got absolutely shat on by the community, rightly so. The devs of Concord, a game that was led by Xbungie, have reported toxic positivity working environment, which was the primary reason the game ended the way it did. Should we also dismiss devs if they mention the words toxic positivity? Straight up acting like a child, while there are clearly big concerns with the game, right? If you're gonna cross your arms and just chill with the current state of the game, not gonna lie, go back to COD Zombies. You deserve what they're doing to that franchise. You just proved his point. People always think you're the problem if you don't criticize what everyone else does. They simply cannot understand.
Not gonna lie though, the quit the game if you don't like it, that is always gonna be a bad take. Because legitimately, if there's less people playing the game, as much as it might get the point across, then more bad things will happen. Because if every Destiny, let's just say flat out, if every Destiny 2 fanatic says everyone that doesn't like Destiny right now, go play something else, guess what? The numbers will skyrocket downward. So in the end, that won't help anything. Just saying go play something else, that doesn't help something.
And there are different opinions on these things, and so they hate on you. They never heard of constructive criticism, simply Bungie did it on purpose. We've given constructive, again, the constructive criticism that we do not want power grinding has been heard in the past, and Bungie changed it, and then they went back on that multiple times. So let's not act like they did do it on purpose. No wonder you were accused of... I'm not touching that. I don't know what that's an allegation. I'm not touching a 9-foot pole. Last reply because you saw 2 words you don't... Lazy reply because you didn't like what you saw. And he expected us to read his word vomit. Toxic positivity is a major problem in all aspects of creative feats. If you can't be critical, you can't improve. Keep sucking bungo dick. Enjoy those 5K silver they gave you. Waffle to the Bungie right now. Hey, at least you'll be able to say you were able to help kill a franchise by helping the last insufferable yes man join the D2 crew. Bro, didn't you just start playing? With all due respect, because I actually do enjoy your content. Please shut up and quit acting like it just because you're a streamer. You know better than people who have put over a decade into the series and have seen the clusterfuck Bungie has started. Preach to the masses.
That is a preach moment.
Dude who barely started playing the game thinks he knows better than the people who have been playing for years and have seen how Bungie have ruined the game. So sensitive about being made fun of by the community. I didn't even make fun of him. I just pointed out his if you want to block me because I was being a jerk and I was making fun of him, then sure, sound off. You have a right to be upset. I literally gave fair criticism. I didn't even attack him generally. I just said we need to stop doing toxic positivity. We need to stop. I was focused on how we react towards Bungie. I never once attacked Milo directly.
No, he legitimately didn't. He just point out the issues in his statements.
Another trash streamer who no life is shit, and now everyone who didn't partake is completely screwed. Don't know who you are, but the D2 creators can go fuck themselves. Don't know what. See, that's just straight hate.
Hey man,
nothing to do
that
with
includes me. Come on.
Telling people to go touch grass is hilarious. People are allowed to criticize dumb decisions. They built the portal this way, then allowed it to happen for days while they knew the streamers were doing this, then canceled it when people who have jobs could do it. Horrible take, man. Talks about it in action. Look in the mirror. It is hilarious. He instantly proved my point. Just like
it is almost unanimous. Every reply is not somebody defending Milo, but everyone defending Mr. Gaming Counselor here.
So here's what I said in response. I said the whole logic, but then I said this. As someone who has a master's degree in psychology, let me educate you what toxic positivity is, Mr. Milo. Toxic positivity is the excessive and ineffective promotion of positive thinking, often dismissing or minimizing genuine negative emotions. It's characterized by the pressure to maintain a positive outlook even in challenging or painful situations, which can be helpful to the mental and emotional well-being. In this instance, it's harmful to the community and the well-being of the health of the game. The more you know. What an absolute clown. I'm sorry. I had respect. I've lost all respect. Milo is an absolute clown.
Yeah.
His thoughts, he's quick to challenge the community. But when someone articulates and has a response to his points, he's unwilling to try to challenge them.
It was fun for a while seeing the wow of somebody that had joined so late in the franchise history. And it was a little bit refreshing to see that kind of amazement and the interest and intrigue with the story from a brand new perspective. The problem is that he is one of the few creators, one of the big creators, that actually did that, because sure, some people maybe put their toe in the water, but he jumped in. He just straight up said, I'm playing Destiny. This is a new thing. I'm starting to work on Destiny content now. And unfortunately, we've gotten to a point where it's just kind of not it, Chief. It's just really not it anymore. And I do feel bad for him because, like I said, I did enjoy seeing the freshness of a established creator suddenly playing Destiny and getting into it, as opposed to somebody who started with Destiny and developed their community from there, and then, of course, onward. But I don't know what I might be saying. This could be a nonsense point, but yeah, it's just weird seeing somebody who I was at one point super excited to see join the community and, you know, speak positively on it, turn into a positive toxicity pariah and just straight up say like, freaking man, opinion should not be approached anymore, or at least just, man, this man is not somebody you should make your final thoughts on.
To push back with logic. Instead, it's I'm going to display toxic positivity and completely be hypocritical, and I'm gonna ignore you and not have a conversation, even though it's funny, but that we need to be willing to listen and have a conversation with Bungie, like listen to what they have to say and being okay with what they have to say. But he himself is not okay listening to the community and hearing what they have to say. No, we can't do that. No, and he's not willing. He's hypocritical because he's literally doing the thing he complains about other people, like telling people to go touch grass, that their opinion doesn't matter, and that you need to go touch grass. Wow. Ain't that something? And it's funny. If there was ever a moment to show why you should not trust people who have Bungie has their hands in their pockets, literally this is a perfect example of someone who acts like Bungie is their friend and then proceeds to enforce that to the community. Like, hey, they're our friends. That we need to treat. They're $1 billion fucking company. Their job is to make money.
Oh hell no, yeah.
These idea that we need to meet them where we're at. No, we're customers. We are customers. Customers are always right, even when they're wrong. But that was a little drama that happened last week. I just waited till after everything blowed over to kind of point it out. If you see this, Milo, I'm willing to let bygones be bygones. If you wanna unblock me, because I had no intention of like trying to start shit with you. I was just calling out your points. I'm willing if you're willing to be the bigger person, and let go of your ego and admit, you know what, you've got some things to learn. Maybe the community isn't always wrong or negative because they want to be negative, because Bungie does things that is negative. Like, no one wants to sit here and shit on.
Oh, absolutely. To that point, I don't want to ride the train of Bungie sucks, Destiny should die. I don't want to do any of that. I don't want to be like the Frankenstein monster and just say it's a monster, we should kill it. I'm not saying Destiny is a crime against humanity and we need to just eradicate it, which is the most opposite of what I say, because I will still say to this point, Destiny is one of my favorite all-time franchises, period. Of course, I based my channel off of it initially, and of course have grown out from there. But at this point, there is just so many things wrong that I can't not be negative. Because as much as I could put on the blanket of positivity, new DLC, and all of that, it's like, there's so many things that I can look at and just be like, sure, yeah, it's here. But now I would rather be vocal about my issues as opposed to be fake about the pluses, if that is perfectly fine. But let's go ahead and wrap the end.
Just because you enjoyed it doesn't mean there isn't issues. Just because you thought it was great doesn't mean that the community doesn't. Again, it's not about what you think, it's about what the majority of the gamer base thinks.
Truth.
You are not the center of attention. I'm not the center of attention, but I just happen to be part of the wider community that has issues with the expansion. And guess what? Bungie's a business. If you're talking about the health of the game, you want the game to be healthy, you should be catering to the masses, to the actual core audience, not the 1 percentile.
I didn't want to pause again and take a moment because there's barely like a minute left, but that was kind of the big sin of Destiny 2 in its start, and that they made it for people just joining the franchise, but also left the veterans behind a little bit. Like, they made changes to bring in new people, but they didn't do anything to actually incentivize the veterans of the community. So that is where Destiny 2 Vanilla for a time was a bit rocky, as somebody who was there at one point.
Upper 1 percentile that thinks it's the bee's freaking knees. Let's be honest. Again, I think it's scummy. I think it's cowardly, especially since I watched him debate Salted Grepo. I thought it was funny. I thought you were wrong for a lot of your points, but it was still entertaining. I thought you were more of a debater or willing to have a conversation, but instead you're going to completely prove my point and just act like the core issues aren't a core issue. But hey, you do you, honey boo boo. You want to push people away from supporting you and defending you? Pop off, King. I was all on board pushing against the weirdos, but now I'm just gonna sit here and dip my tea and just let them. I'm not even gonna defend anymore.
Yep.
Nope. I'm not defending shit. Let the weirdos out. Who let the weirdos out? Who? Let them out. Release the weirdos.
Well, on that, yep, that is right at the end of his thing. So I must agree with a lot of what Mr. Gaming Counselor here has said regarding the issue, is that he legitimately pointed out issues with the statement. He agreed with several points in what MrRoflWaffles had initially said, but of course he pointed out some issues and things that could use some addressing as somebody like me that is lower in the creator scheme, but also still has the ear to the community, and that we know that the community doesn't like what's happening. As a general, a lot of the people that are still playing may be doing that thing where it's like the meme of the watermelon eating the otter that doesn't like watermelon but continues to eat it. People cannot like it and still consume it. There's a lot of people that don't like it and have stopped consuming it, like me. Then there's the people that consume it and put on a face that say this is the best thing ever, even though 90% of the community may be saying this is some absolute dog turds and you're just pretending like those dog turds are a chocolate cake. So, in the end, that is pretty much everything that I wanted to talk about this. Yeah, it's not exactly a great thing because, like I said, I enjoyed seeing somebody enter established into the Destiny 2 thing and enjoy it so much. But then just seeing an argument where somebody legitimately points out your faults in your argument and doesn't even like come at you directly, they just pointed out issues in your argument, and then say toxic positivity, you are ignored, blocked, and pretended like they don't exist. Yeah, that's a great shortcut to not getting anywhere in life if you had plans on going higher. Because honestly, that's kind of something I've taken as a Destiny creator, and even as a small creator with barely 4-digit subs. I took every comment and I'll reply, I'll respond, I'll articulate, I'll debate, because I like actually hearing what voices of my community say and having my own points and discussing things. There are some things that I learned about Monster Hunter just from my comments alone without even my own, seeking and researching, to the point that people can understand that your communities actually have the ear of what's to be said. So, in the case of my own and my own commenters, in case of everyone calling out Milo, and in case of everyone on Destiny right now that is saying Edge of Fate ain't it, cuz Bungie needs to fix their shit, people know what is going on. So, with that, I'm going to leave it here. Thank you, of course, to Mr. Gaming Counselor. I'll go ahead and link the original video in his thing, even though you pretty much just watched the whole thing. Please, I did not intend this to be an Ethan Klein. I just wanted to watch it all. I did run it at extra speed because, again, Mr. Counselor, my man, you have a lot of good points, but you do take a minute to get through some stuff sometimes. So that's why I just had to on one time. So no offense, no insult intended. Just me trying to keep my video lower than an hour, but I'm pretty sure that even at this point, it's still close to an hour recording. So with that, I will see you all in the next video.